All right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about why you need to everyday carry. Like, why does it even matter, right? It's nice. Like, we all like guns. So, why wouldn't you carry a gun when you're young and you have a favorite teddy bear? You carry that everywhere.
Right?
I
Safety
love
blanket.
guns. Why wouldn't I carry that everywhere?
Exactly.
Safety blanket. That makes perfect sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I always put together the intro video that we do for these, and I searched concealed carry
Uh,
and in Canva, and so they have the videos come up, and they recommended a video of Jesus carrying the cross, and I was
okay.
like, all right, I see it. It's not really that concealed, but hey, teach their own, right? Um, no, but anyway, first of all, I guess we'll cover the basics. Like, so when we say, everyday carry, or why do you need to carry every day? Some people refer to it as EDC, everyday
Mm-hmm.
carry. And what we're talking about is carrying a firearm for protection, and why that's important. A lot of people, when they describe their typical everyday carry, they'll talk about, things they have every day. Maybe that's your cell phone, that's your gun. A lot of people have a multi-tool, something like that, and maybe a knife. And obviously there's a lot more things. We're going to talk at the end a little bit about, dig deeper into some of the things you should carry and shouldn't carry. There
Mm-hmm.
are some things that might actually be slowing you down, or being a little bit negative, so that's something to keep in mind. But anyway, yeah, why is it even important? Well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about it.
yeah,
83% of people in the United States are going to be the victim of a violent crime at some point in their life. That's pretty much everybody. That's you.
that
It's less likely to happen to women, a little bit more likely to happen to men. Um, but I mean, you've got a 30% chance of being robbed. You've got a 74% chance of being assaulted. Women have an 8% chance of being raped in their lifetime. And then, like, nonviolent crimes, personal theft, 99%, burglary, 72%, household larceny, 89%, vehicle motor theft, 19%. There's a 30% increase in murders from 2019 to 2020, but there was a 4% decrease in murders from 21 to 22. So, I mean, those are kind of some rookie numbers. I mean, this is America. We got to pump those numbers up a little bit. We can't be getting dropping down, letting our guard down, and start decreasing the amount of murders in the United States. But here's the positive one: if you do feel like you need to go out and commit a murder, you only have a 51% chance of being caught. So that's how many homicide cases are cleared in 2022. So I mean, whatever, whatever. But you know, when you go out, are you somebody that is going to be targeted for a crime? You know, how do you just keep it from happening right in the first place? You know what I mean? So here are the things that a mugger or a thief or somebody would look for. Right? You're out in town doing your thing, flashy, right? Or you look like you're weak, you got a limp or something like that. You're alone, or you're drunk. Those are like the top four things that they're looking for. Uh,
it,
if you're gonna
it
if you're
just
gonna rob
screams I'm a victim, right?
Right, right.
I mean, that's really, yeah. No, and bottom line is, are you aware? Are you paying attention? That was one of the things, like the born supremacy, or whatever the first one was, right?
Right.
And his big thing is like, oh, this guy probably has a gun. Oh, this is, the shady guy in the room. He's,
Right.
it's being aware and paying attention to what's going on around you. And that makes a big difference. But I gotta say, people, when they actually interview criminals, and they ask them this kind of thing, the FBI has a crime lab, and they, they talk to people and try and get the data and how to prevent things and what people are looking for, and they're always trying to find a better way to solve crimes. And the idea is they say that they look for somebody who doesn't have confidence,
Right. Right.
somebody who's not, looking like they have it together, where they're paying attention, somebody who's, moving with a purpose.
Right. Right. If somebody looks like they're organized and knows where they're going and what they're doing, you might not want to mess with them as much as somebody that seems to be confused, staring at their phone, staring at a map, confused about.
Right.
I'm sorry, I said staring at a map. I watched a video from like the 1980s, and they were talking about things that were most likely to peg you as a tourist or a foreigner.
Right.
Carrying a fanny pack was on the list.
Oh,
Wearing a fanny pack, looking at a map, and being confused about where you are. They said, watch out for somebody that comes up and says they want to practice their English.
oh, that's a
Yep.
bad one.
Or if somebody comes up and asks you if you know what time it is, that's what they were warning about in the 80s. Now it's like, are you staring at your phone or not? Because if you're paying attention to what I'm doing, I'm not as interested in what you're doing. But
Yeah, but would you give me $20 if I could tell you where you got your shoes?
yeah, I
Yeah.
know that. I know that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I have very little tolerance for people that try and interact with me when I'm in public. You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean? I'm not into that. Don't I recognize you from somewhere? No, you don't. Nope. Bye. No. Moving on. That sort of stuff. I don't, you just got to squash that stuff right away.
yeah. No, exactly. I mean, that's one of the things that was funny. I went to New Orleans, and they they talk to you in the hotel, and I'm a reasonably observant guy, and I pay attention to all this stuff, right? This is what I'm looking for. And yeah, like the comments. But that's the thing, is I'm paying attention, and they're like, look, anybody comes up and talks to you, just don't even talk to them.
Right.
Just walk away, and nothing. And to be honest, that's pretty much the best advice.
Right.
I mean, unless you really feel like, oh, this person, but if somebody comes up with some kind of solicitation or anything, you're just
Hmm.
kind of asking for trouble.
Right.
And yeah, you need to kind of, that whole street smart thing. It's something that comes with time, I guess. I mean, you kind of learn by, the grifter gets you for a little bit, takes your $20 or
Right.
whatever. And, it doesn't hurt him if the guy weighs 400 pounds and is 6'5", and he's like, oh, well, you said you'd give me $20,
Right.
then you're like, well, yeah, okay, because
Hmm.
you'll crush me, and where am I going to go?
Yeah, I actually knew that guy. He
Oh,
had
you know him?
just
He's your
got
buddy?
out of prison.
Okay.
He was a solid 250, and he was probably about 6'2", and he told me that he would just grab somebody,
Yeah.
just walk up and grab somebody. He called it strong arming him. Where you just
That
go
I
up
would
behind
say
him,
by
grab him,
definition.
pat him down, take whatever they got, and push him down on the ground and leave. And you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not armed robbery. There's a big difference between the two. You know what I mean? But if the person, if you're not committing armed robbery, you're just strong arming somebody, and the person you're robbing is armed, things change real quick, man.
They do. And that's where we come back to everyday carry. I mean, that's what people don't realize. I mean, one of the places you're most vulnerable is when you're pumping gas late at night. Like
Right.
that's one of kind of my go-to things that I do. I hate to say it, I get
Hmm.
off of work at 10:30 at night, and I hit the 24-hour gas station or whatever, and go pump gas on the way home almost every day, because I like to keep that tank full, so I
Right.
don't have other problems. But having a concealed carry, that's a big thing, having that right there, where, you see sometimes they have pictures of guys standing at the gas pump with their handgun just kind of out and down.
Right.
Cause I mean, you're almost
It
not
hap-
wrong.
Yeah, it happens a
That's,
lot. It happens a lot. I've known more than one person that's been robbed
yeah.
when they were pumping gas.
That, obviously the ATM seems like a real vulnerable place,
Right.
that
Right. It's always
that
something
you'd
you
be
want to
at.
watch out. When you're going around an ATM at night, man, that's a sticky spot, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. So,
And I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people don't know,
what's
but
that?
like cameras, surveillance cameras, that sort of stuff, nobody gives a fuck about that stuff.
No, they
You just
really
cover
don't.
your face up. It's fine. It's not even a big deal. Like if you're worried about that
Yeah,
security camera and but the ATM has a camera right there. You know what I mean? Nobody would do something here.
right in
No,
your
nobody
face.
cares about
Yeah,
that. They're not going to find them.
no, no. And that's the thing. They don't go after. I mean, that was one of the things. They said that law enforcement cleared only 70% of homicides reported in 2020.
Hmm.
So 30%, which is actually an increase, meaning that they're doing better at solving. It was 50% the year before.
Hmm.
And, it's ridiculous. They're not really going after. They say if you steal a car, I think it's 23%
Yeah.
that you'll get caught. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And
ridiculous.
it's those are the 23% that were just crazy kids being assholes and jumping in a car that had the keys in it just to drive around the neighborhood. Those are the people that get caught. People that actually want your car, they're not they're
Yeah.
not getting caught.
Now, let's take, and then there's sex trafficking. There's all this. So
Right.
I kind of pulled up some statistics. Turns out that the number one state for human trafficking is, you want to take a guess? I mean, I feel like you might get it.
I don't know. There's a couple of trashy places out there that I feel might do it. I'd have to say like New York,
New York's
Louisiana,
number four.
Alaska. I'm not
Number
sure.
one is California.
Oh, nice. Okay. All
You
right.
would think, all those great people out there, they're all full of the love and the kindness.
Mm-hmm.
But no. And then number two, great state of Texas. Now I think
Texas.
they get into trouble because you're right on that border with Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of seems to be a thing in Mexico. I know when I went to San Antonio,
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, yeah, it's a great place to live. It's awesome here, but we do have a lot of kidnappings and that kind of thing."
Mm-hmm.
Three is Florida, then New York, Georgia, Ohio, Michigan, Missouri, North Carolina.
All right. All right. So I
So
mean, New York, we're still up there in the top 5. That's
yeah,
something.
I gotta say, New York, you're still making the top five, but you're only a third of California, maybe a
Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah. And I'd imagine the majority of the ones that happen in New York happen in New York City.
Actually, it is a quarter in New York of what California is.
Right.
So you're doing better. But
Yeah. No. And
all right,
and I
now
know
what
it.
about
That's
these
something my wife was
states?
saying that she
Go
was
ahead.
worried about you with that. With you falling victim
Oh,
to sex trafficking. She's told
I
me that
am
there's
rather
like a hot
handsome.
market for large hairy
Bearded
men.
men.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's for bears. The gays are out there and they're looking
That's
for
what they're
you,
looking
bro.
for. Yeah,
They're
I'll
gonna
admit.
abduct you. I mean, it's a little bit heavy, bigger guys are a little bit harder to get into the van, but they
Okay.
just lure you with cheeseburgers. If you ever
Yeah.
see a van that says free cheeseburgers, stay away, dude.
I've been seeing one of those circling the block. And so, hey, it's got a picture of the Hamburglar on the side. I don't know if that's no.
Yeah, no, I know
Okay.
what you're talking about. That guy.
All right. So a lot of people have now a lot of states have open carry where you can
Right.
carry your handgun and have it exposed. Well, the problem with that and where you kind of run into trouble, I think, is think of how many times when you see in a fight, people try and go and grab the cop's gun.
Right.
And if they're willing to grab a cop's gun, what do you think the odds are they might just come up and try and grab your gun?
Right.
I feel like that's a thing, and you're kind of exposing yourself like that.
Right.
One of the things like, and that's like with the gas station and like that, like I might, kind of pull my shirt over the gun because I live in a state where you can have open carry just so I have easy access to it or
Right.
something like that. I don't have to do like the double move, but just the same, that's something to be aware of. Now, again, moving right along back to the gun here, people, one of the big hot button issues is always, well, do I carry one in the chamber or do I not? And I gotta say, the consensus in the gun world kind of seems to be that you really should carry one in the chamber. Now, the big thing is when people were so worried about that, and you're shooting yourself, and I know that's a concern you have,
Right. You
Kevin.
don't want to shoot your dick off, right? That's
Shoot your
not a
dick
good
off
look.
is always a bad, a bad move, and we train, and you'd think you can get reasonably quick at working the slide,
Right.
but what I would say is they have something called drop safe guns now,
Hmm.
and pretty much they're all kind of tested, and you can search whatever handgun you have and type in drop safe, and usually the internet they'll straighten you right out of whether you're good to go or not. But just a fall or something like that. Now, I would say you want something that has a holster or something like that, something that's protecting the trigger or a safety on your gun
Hmm.
if you're going to carry one in the chamber. Because if you're pushing it down in your pants and your trigger is the only safety, and turns out your pants are grabbing the trigger, I'd
Right.
have to side with Kevin on that one. And, you can put your hate in the comments that, you don't care, you're, free with your stuff, but I recommend, hey, maybe a reasonable holster that kind of
Right.
protects that trigger might be
Yeah.
a good way to go if you're going to carry one in the chamber. So what type of things would you carry for your everyday carry? I mean, obviously we said a gun. For me, I carry a H&K VP9 SK. I know a lot of the guys seem to like the M&P Shield from Smith and Wesson, and but but besides the specific guns, a lot of people like a Glock. Some of the
Yeah.
smaller ones they
Yeah. A
do
lot of the
too.
people.
Even the
Yep.
bigger Glock 19, something
Hmm.
like that. Glocks they've come a long way too. They really the new Gen 5s and stuff are pretty awesome. Um, but what else do you carry? What are some of the things that? And I'm not looking for a lot. Like one of the things I always say is don't carry stuff that you're really not going to use or
Right.
that you don't know how to use.
Hmm.
How often do we see that with the first aid kits? We see it with their bug out bags. People buy all this crap. You have a compass. I don't need a compass for my everyday carry.
Right.
It might be in my bag in my car or something, but it's not something I need to carry on my person because I might, end up in the middle of Detroit and not know which direction, north and south. I mean, come on.
Right.
Like let's be realistic here for a minute. But what do you carry?
Yeah. I mean, first off the bat is a pocket knife, and I want to say first off that if you're in a knife fight and you have a pocket knife, you made a mistake. That's not something that you want to use as a self defense weapon. But a pocket knife is better than nothing, and it's something that actually comes up in my day to day life, pulling it out once or twice a day.
How
'Cause-
often are you stabbing people in the day? I mean,
right,
it's
right. So I mean, I don't carry a whole lot day to day, but I mean, I think everybody has an everyday carry that's a smartphone. You know what I mean? If you're in an emergency or you see an emergency, at least you can call for help. But
right.
what is it? 14 minutes is the average response time. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, in urban and rural is different, but you
Right.
know, I wouldn't count on the police coming to save you if you're getting mugged.
I know when I lived in Virginia Beach, if you called an ambulance, they said expect at least 8 minutes.
Hmm.
And they recommended that was not a great response time, and you shouldn't really expect to be alive after that.
Hmm.
um I mean, I don't know. I know at work we called the little in ambulance, and it took about 15 minutes for them to get there, and they only had to come from one side of the factory to the other, and I'm like,
Right.
what happened? The actual fire department got there before the
Before the
implant.
ambulance in the
Yeah,
building did.
yeah, but hey, to each their own, right?
Right.
We all just do the best we can. um yeah, so a phone is an excellent choice. A good knife. Now I carry like a Leatherman, right? Like I have the Leatherman rebar. It's kind of always, on my belt, and
Right.
it's got, the normal stuff. Um, eh, I don't like the junky ones that I don't feel are like a useful tool. The $12 ones you get.
Hmm.
Yeah, to me, they're just garbage. But that's up to you. You choose your level of what you're after. Um, what I would say, I pull my Leatherman out probably. I would say if I'm at home, I probably pull it off out about 5 times a day.
Hmm.
And if I'm at work, I probably pull it out about 15 times a day.
Right.
So for me, my world, I'm like a fix it guy and doing stuff. To me, it's really relevant. If you're like a suit and tie kind of guy and you work in, an office and whatever, you probably never use that. And, if you're not fixing something with it, that's not for you to carry.
Right. It's
It's
just
not
a waste
appropriate.
of.
It's a waste of space and whatever. Again, with me, I'm kind of a strange guy. I carry on my keychain, I have a handcuff key. Um,
Right.
one of those companies has these little plastic handcuff keys, and it's just like the bottom end of it, and
Right.
it's got a little clip, and they're plastic, and you can actually like clip it on your belt loop. And I thought that was a cool idea, and I'm like, oh, I'll do that with my whatever. And they just didn't stay.
Right.
Like it, I ended up losing it. Like not even because I put the pants in the wash or something. Like I
Right.
didn't even
Just
make
fell
it
off
through the
during the day.
day.
Huh?
And yeah, and I have a couple more, but they're still in the drawer because I
Because
lost
what's the
two.
point?
Yeah,
Right.
trying to carry them,
How
and I'm
often are
like,
you
oh,
gonna
that
trying to
doesn't
escape after you've been arrested by the police? It doesn't come
right.
up that often.
Now, what I have seen, well, there's some gray area there. There's, it's you do you. And but I've seen people will put the handcuff key on the zipper in their pants,
Hmm.
and they'll actually you can, like work it out. And I've seen people just do the little tips, so they basically make the pull be the bottom of a handcuff key. um I'm just saying, you have options. You get handcuffed, it's right there. Hey, to each their own, right?
Hmm.
Having a flashlight, but again, is that something you keep in your car, or is that something you really have on your person?
Right. Right. It
um
depends on what you're
right.
doing every day.
Now, all day again at work, I have a flashlight on my belt right next to the Leatherman. I'm like
Hmm.
freaking Batman there and whatnot with,
Right. Right.
the whole utility belt.
There's a time for a utility belt. There's a time
Right. But when
to
I'm at
keep things
home,
simple.
I don't have a flashlight on my belt, especially in the daytime. Now,
Hmm.
there's a couple times I go to grab it every now and again where I'm trying to look behind something or under the house, and I'm like, oh, I didn't bring it out with me, and it
Right.
kind of sucks. But so I'd say those are good things. The flashlight again, probably not, but maybe, if you're a night watchman somewhere, well then yeah, flashlight probably pretty good idea.
Right.
Do I have a flashlight in my car, in my truck? Yes, all day
Hmm.
long. I think it would be ridiculous to not have something there like that.
Yeah.
um I don't know, it'd be awesome if you guys put your everyday, carry stuff in the comments. That
Hmm.
would, let us know what you're carrying. That,
Yeah. I see a lot of
it's
these
always
things
helpful. Yeah.
in New York at like hardware stores, and they're like the keychains with the pepper spray. You've seen those?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it just like a handgun. I would recommend with pepper spray, if you're gonna get one, get three. Spray one at something. You know what I mean? So you know what kind of distance you've got and that sort of
Yes.
stuff. Use one to spray yourself in the face, because if you don't know what it's like to get maced, then you're not gonna know how the other person might react.
Kevin
And
has a video on YouTube somewhere.
you can see me. It was actually homemade mace, and you know, do what you're gonna do. So you gotta
There you
test it
go.
out. But I mean, who hasn't gotten tear gassed every once in a while? You
There,
gotta you
there
gotta
you
keep
go.
up with it. Now you can do this to your face every single day and build up a tolerance, but
Oh,
it just doesn't come up that often. You know what I mean?
you never know. And that's the thing. Like, so if I live in a state and I'm not allowed to carry a handgun, one, I'm going to step up my mixed martial arts game. I'm going to hang out a lot at the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu club.
Right.
But two, carrying mace or pepper spray, if that's even legal where you are,
Hmm.
those are other options. And I would say it's better than nothing.
Right.
If you're a girl or whatever. Like I said, the guy, I'd like to think that you can step up your game and learn your fighting a little bit,
Right.
learn some moves, hey, whatever. What are some things, Kevin, that you wouldn't want to carry every day that you see people doing? I mean, obviously,
Right.
you
Right.
don't you
I
don't
do.
carry a shotgun with you all day on your person. You might carry it in your truck all day,
Right. Right.
but not on your person. What else? So
Yeah, I
obviously
mean,
not
I
big and
do see a
bulky.
lot of people with like the full on fanny pack because they got to have
Yes.
every single thing they own on their
Yes.
person at all times, you know?
So
Um,
maybe skip the grappling hook.
I would, yeah, exactly. Exactly. You got to take it easy on some of this stuff. Obviously, you don't want to go crazy with it. But I mean, there's a certain level and that, it really depends on where you're going that day. You know what I
Right.
mean? If you're like Chuck said, if you're
Um,
just driving down the street to your office and driving back home, maybe just carrying a handgun with you is all you need and that's it. But, you know, different
right. The
activities require different things. I sometimes will carry an emergency flask just in case I have to
mm,
start getting drunk early. I don't know what's going to happen today. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't recommend doing that every day. It's going to hold you down. One of the things that I sometimes think about wearing, I don't do it every day, but most days I do, is my jeans with the spandex crotch in case I got to roundhouse somebody.
yes.
Chuck
Yes.
Norris actually has specially made jeans that are tight fit, but I have a spandex crotch so he can roundhouse people just randomly throughout the
But
day.
who
And that's smart.
hasn't seen
That's
that?
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing. I don't roundhouse kick people every day, so
Yeah.
I didn't need to go that way on the jeans.
Hmm.
Although I find a lot of times when I use a grinder, I'll burn a hole in the pants, and
Hmm.
it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you still loosen them up that way. The
Right.
other day, I was drilling something, and I managed to drill a hole in the pants a little
Mm.
bit.
Okay.
And
Yep.
you
Done that.
know, you stop before it's too late, but sometimes you catch the pants anyway. Um,
Yep.
Another thing, like it used to be a thing people would say, "Oh, a notebook and pen." You never know. Well, yeah, that might be cool in like your get home bag or your bug out bag, but not really your everyday carry anymore for most people. Like,
Hmm.
I know guys at work who have like a little notebook and they'll write down part numbers and things they come across, or somebody comes up with something. And you know what? They're going back to that and using it as a reference. And that really pays off. If you're not doing that with your phone or you don't have access to stuff and you need information, part numbers like that on the regular, that would be a brilliant thing for you to carry. That
Right.
makes complete sense. But if you're not that guy and you're using your phone or whatever else for it, then really carrying around a pad of paper and a pen, you're just risking like puncturing a testicle. You don't need pens in your pocket and that kind of thing.
Right.
Just exposing yourself to danger.
Hmm.
Be careful out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Now I haven't done this in years, but it is still reasonable behavior to do cup checks with people.
Hmm.
So I mean, maybe wearing a cup
Sure.
every day is how you want to go about it. I mean, if you're wearing a cup every day, you can cup check people. You know,
Yeah.
hit them with a flashlight or whatever. You got to check and see who's ready. Who came prepared today? Did he come ready to play or not? So I mean,
It's a little concerning.
it's legitimate behavior. Um, you want to be wary about that. It depends on who you work with.
Okay. Good to know. Again, what do you think about those tactical pens? I kind of am gonna go with, yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I carry a
Um,
pen sometimes. Most of the time I don't. I mean, I guess a tactical pen is better than a regular pen if you have to stab somebody. But
in the eye, right?
yeah, I mean, really, a regular pen will do most of that. And if my only defense was a steel pen, then
Right,
I didn't come ready. I was not prepared for the day. If that's my go-to.
right. No,
But
exactly.
who am I? Who am I to tell you what to do with your life? You're a grown man. Do what you want. If you like the
So
tactical pen, get a tactical pen. They're only $30 or something. It's cheap.
there
They're
you
fine.
go.
And
All
they
right.
write. They work.
Exactly. But I think really what it comes down to is nobody ever plans to be in a bad situation, right?
Right.
Nobody ever thinks, oh, today, I'm going to go in that place where I might get robbed or shot or, some abductor come and attack me or whatever. Or maybe I see somebody else being abducted,
Hmm.
whatever. And I miss that opportunity to save somebody and you fall short. I mean, definitely these times we've all experienced times where we fall short because we're unprepared, right? Like, I mean, it could be something as simple as, oh, I'm out walking through the woods and the fox that I've been hunting and trying to get for a month walks by in front of me, but I didn't bring my handgun with me that day.
Right.
Well, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You get caught off guard and you forget little things. One time the power went out and I had coffee, but I only had beans and I didn't have a grinder or whatever. I mean, I thought about it for a little bit and I chopped up the beans with a knife and worked it out. I mean, there's always a workaround, but it was something I wasn't prepared for. You get caught off guard.
Hmm.
Well, when it comes to your safety and your security, you don't want to get caught off guard. And carrying every day, that's how you prevent that. So I'd really love to hear, what you guys are carrying, how you carry it. Like if, you carry in the handgun in a fanny pack like Kevin, or, whatever you want to do, let us know in the comments, different stuff that, you like to carry, things maybe you should avoid. Any stories where your concealed carries paid off. That'd be awesome. I
Yeah.
would
Yeah. I see
say
those a lot.
exactly. If you like, subscribe to the podcast, uh, like and subscribe the YouTube channel, I would say that would help out.
Yeah. And if
And
you want to email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com, we do respond to the emails. If you guys email us, we will get the email. There's not some nerd down there that's fielding our social media.
of course,
So,
that could be why our response time is so slow,
right.
but
I don't know. We might have to hire a nerd. I don't know what to do.
a nerd. Yeah, we fit into that category.
Oh,
We
all right.
fulfill that
Fair
something.
enough. All right.
All right. So that's what I got. What I would say is stay strapped or get clapped. And with that, we'll talk to you guys next week. Um,